Joining me now, CBS News investigative correspondent Sharyl Attkisson, who hasn't been just covering the Benghazi story, but has been out front most of the time as we've been trying to get to the bottom of what really happened. Sharyl, where does this go from here? What do you see happening now?
Well, I'm still learning new things, including this past week we learned some new things about the way General Petraeus felt as head of the CIA when those talking points went through those huge revisions. We saw emails that seemed to express deep disappointment on his part, if not aggravation, that so much material had been taken out. I wonder if he has more to say if someone were able to get him to talk. I also wonder if a pattern is emerging now that we've seen all mention of terrorism, Islamic extremists, Al-Qaeda, Ansar al-Sharia removed from the talking points. Additionally, there was no convening of the counterterrorism security group by the White House that night, which is described to me as required by presidential directive. Is there a pattern of someone wanting to avoid the terrorism narrative in exchange for basically the YouTube spontaneous demonstration narrative?
John McCain, I think, called today for a select committee to investigate this. You heard Ambassador Pickering say this morning he thought that his investigation pretty much did the job. But I'm not sure he's going to find a lot of agreement on Capitol Hill with that statement.
Well, by Admiral Pickering's own admission, to some degree, the investigation was limited in its definition and scope as to people he did and didn't talk to. I was surprised to hear him say that he decided there was no need to ask Mrs. Clinton any questions. I would think that even if you think you know all the answers at that point, you would still want to get her version of what she knows and make sure everything matches up and see if you know anything new. I think those will be questions that Congress wants to ask.
Someone who is sort of close to this said to me, never take it for granted that it is always malice. Sometimes it's just incompetence. So while I think there are many different factors going into how we got to where we are right now, but as far as I'm concerned, we still have not gotten where we ought to be, to have a really clear understanding of exactly what happened and why it happened.
Agreed. I think everyone agrees that in the security decisions, some of which may have been bad, nobody wanted anybody to get hurt. The question is, what willfulness occurred once this happened in perhaps giving a different story? I'm not saying there was a cover-up, but there are questions and allegations of a cover-up. What happened in that regard? And moving forward, have these problems really been fixed, whereby if our embassies come under attack on foreign soil again, can we now be in a position to move more quickly? Will warnings that were issued by the CIA be heeded or acted upon in a better way to protect Americans than they were on September 11th last year?
All right. Well, Sharyl Attkisson, one thing I want to say to you is keep on digging, but I know I don't have to say that because I know you always do. Thanks for being with us.